On a crisp autumn evening, as the leaves dance in the gentle breeze and the scent of pumpkin spice lingers in the air, a peculiar whisper spreads through the neighborhood. "Have you heard?" one neighbor asks another, their eyes twinkling with excitement and a hint of mischief. "They say if you place 3 cloves in just the right spot on date, you'll manifest riches beyond your wildest dreams." The story begins to circulate, passed from one eager listener to another, each retelling adding a layer of mystique and anticipation. It's not long before the entire community is abuzz with talk of this seemingly magical ritual. Some dismiss it as nothing more than an old wives' tale, a harmless bit of fun to liven up the days leading to Halloween. Others, however, can't help but feel a tingle of hope, a spark of possibility that perhaps, just perhaps, there might be some truth to this enchanting tale. As date approaches, the excitement in the air is palpable. Children giggle and whisper about the prospect of unlimited candy, while adults dream of paying off mortgages and taking luxurious vacations. The local grocery store notices a sudden spike in clove sales, and knowing smiles are exchanged between customers as they reach for the small jars of fragrant spices. But where did this curious custom originate? To uncover the truth, we must journey back in time, to a small village nestled in the rolling hills of a far-off land. It was there, centuries ago, that a wise old woman with eyes that sparkled like starlight first shared the secret of the 3 cloves. Legend has it that this woman, known simply as Grandmother Mira, lived in a cozy cottage at the edge of the forest. Her garden was a wonder to behold, filled with herbs and flowers that seemed to bloom year-round, defying the natural order of seasons. Villagers would often seek her counsel, drawn by her gentle wisdom and the aromatic teas she brewed to soothe troubled souls. One particularly harsh winter, when food was scarce and spirits were low, a young couple came to Grandmother Mira in desperation. They had lost their harvest to an early frost and feared they wouldn't survive until spring. The old woman listened to their plight with compassion, her gnarled hands wrapped around a steaming mug of spiced tea. As the couple's tale came to an end, Grandmother Mira's eyes twinkled with an idea. She rose from her rocking chair and shuffled to a small wooden chest in the corner of her cottage. With reverence, she lifted the lid and withdrew 3 perfectly formed cloves, their rich brown color a stark contrast to the snow-covered world outside. "Take these," she said, pressing the cloves into the young woman's palm. On the night before All Hallows' Eve, when the veil between worlds is thinnest, place these 3 cloves in the spot where the moonlight first touches your home. As you do, whisper your deepest desires for abundance and prosperity. The couple looked at each other, confusion and hope warring on their faces. "But how will this help us?" the young man asked, his voice tinged with skepticism. Grandmother Mira smiled, the wrinkles around her eyes deepening. "Cloves, my dears, are more than just a spice. They are a symbol of abundance, of the earth's generosity. By placing them with intention, you invite that abundance into your lives. But remember, the magic lies not in the cloves themselves, but in your belief and the actions you take to manifest your desires." With those cryptic words, she ushered the couple out into the snowy night, leaving them to ponder her advice. They had nothing to lose, so on date, as the moon rose high in the sky, they followed Grandmother Mira's instructions to the letter. To their amazement, the very next day, a traveling merchant stumbled upon their home, his wagon laden with goods. Grateful for their hospitality, he shared his bounty with the couple, ensuring they had enough to see them through the winter. But the true miracle came in the spring, when their fields yielded a harvest more bountiful than any in living memory. Word of their good fortune spread quickly, and soon the entire village was placing cloves on date, each hoping to invite abundance into their lives. As the years passed, the ritual evolved, taking on new meanings and interpretations, as it spread from village to village, country to country. In some places, it became a solemn ceremony, with families gathering to place the cloves together, sharing their hopes and dreams for the future. In others, it turned into a festive occasion, with neighbors competing to find the most creative spots to place their cloves, believing that originality would lead to greater rewards. As the tradition crossed oceans and continents, it adapted to local cultures and beliefs. In bustling cities, office workers would sneak cloves onto their desks, hoping for that long-awaited promotion. Students would tuck them into their backpacks, dreaming of academic success and bright futures. Even skeptics found themselves participating, if only for the sense of community and shared hope it brought. But as with all things that gain popularity, there were those who sought to exploit the tradition for personal gain. Unscrupulous merchants began selling premium cloves at exorbitant prices, claiming they were harvested under a full moon or blessed by mystics. Self-proclaimed gurus offered workshops on the proper technique for clove placement, promising guaranteed results for a hefty fee. It was in this atmosphere of commercialization and skepticism that our story returns to the present day, to a world where the internet buzzes with conflicting information, and everyone seems to have an opinion on the right way to manifest riches with 3 simple cloves. Sarah, a young woman in her late 20s, sits at her computer, scrolling through countless articles and videos about the clove ritual. Her small apartment is cluttered with vision boards and self-help books, testament to her ongoing quest for a better life. She's tried it all: positive affirmations, meditation, even a brief foray into extreme couponing, but nothing seems to stick. As she reads about the 3 cloves tradition, something resonates within her. Perhaps it's the simplicity of the ritual or the connection to ancient wisdom, but Sarah feels a glimmer of hope she hasn't experienced in a long time. She decides then and there that this year she'll give it a try. The next day, Sarah heads to her local grocery store, determination in her step. As she reaches for a jar of cloves, she notices an elderly woman examining the spice rack with a thoughtful expression. Their eyes meet, and the woman smiles, a knowing look passing between them. "First time?" the woman asks, her voice warm and slightly amused. Sarah nods, feeling a bit sheepish. "Is it that obvious?" The woman chuckles, reaching for her own jar of cloves. "We were all first-timers once, dear. The important thing is to approach it with an open heart and a clear mind." As they chat, Sarah learns that the woman, who introduces herself as Eleanor, has been practicing the clove ritual for over 50 years. "It's not about getting rich quick," Eleanor explains as they walk together down the aisle. "It's about setting intentions, about opening yourself up to the possibilities that surround us every day." Sarah listens, captivated by Eleanor's words and the warm, grandmotherly energy she exudes. As they reach the checkout, Sarah finds herself inviting Eleanor for coffee, eager to learn more about this intriguing tradition. Seated in a cozy cafe, their hands wrapped around steaming mugs, Eleanor shares her own experiences with the clove ritual. "The first year I tried it," she says, her eyes twinkling with the memory, "I was a young bride, worried about making ends meet. I placed those cloves with such hope, such desperation." Sarah leans in, hanging on every word. "And did it work? Did you suddenly come into money?" Eleanor's laugh is rich and full. "Oh, goodness, no. At least not in the way I expected. But the very act of doing something, of taking that small step towards what I wanted, it changed something in me. I started noticing opportunities I might have overlooked before. I felt more confident asking for that raise at work, and little by little, things began to improve." As Eleanor speaks, Sarah feels a shift in her perspective. She had been so focused on the idea of instant riches, of some magical transformation, that she had overlooked the power of small, consistent actions. The cloves, she realizes, are not a guarantee of wealth, but a symbol of intention, a physical reminder of one's goals and aspirations. Inspired by Eleanor's wisdom, Sarah spends the next few days leading up to date in reflection. She thinks deeply about what true richness means to her. Is it just about money in the bank, or is it something more? She begins to see how abundance can manifest in various ways, in strong relationships, in good health, in the pursuit of passions and dreams. As the fateful day arrives, Sarah feels a sense of calm purpose. She has chosen her spot carefully, a small nook by her window where the morning sun first touches her apartment. It's not just about where the moonlight falls, she's decided, but about creating a daily reminder of her intentions. With reverence, she places the 3 cloves, their pungent aroma filling the air. As she does, she whispers her desires, not for instant wealth, but for the wisdom to recognize opportunities, the courage to pursue her dreams, and the compassion to share whatever abundance comes her way. The ritual complete, Sarah steps back, feeling a subtle shift in the energy of her small apartment. She knows that simply placing the cloves won't magically transform her life, but the act has already sparked something within her, a renewed sense of purpose and possibility. In the days that follow, Sarah notices small changes in her behavior and outlook. She smiles more at strangers, leading to unexpected conversations and connections. She takes more pride in her work, catching the eye of her supervisor. She even signs up for a financial literacy class at the local community center, determined to make the most of whatever resources come her way. As weeks turn to months, Sarah's life begins to transform in ways both subtle and profound. The promotion she's been eyeing at work finally comes through, not because of magic, but because of the confidence and initiative she's been displaying. She starts a small side business selling handmade crafts, turning a long-neglected hobby into a source of joy and extra income. But perhaps the most significant change is in Sarah's mindset. She no longer sees wealth solely in terms of monetary value. Instead, she recognizes the richness in her friendships, in the satisfaction of pursuing her passions, and in the ability to help others. The 3 cloves, still sitting in their special spot, serve as a daily reminder of the abundance that surrounds her, if only she keeps her heart and mind open to it. As the month approaches once again, Sarah finds herself looking forward to the ritual with a new perspective. This time, she plans to invite friends to join her, to share in the tradition, and create a community of support and shared aspirations. She thinks of Eleanor, grateful for the wisdom shared over coffee, and makes a mental note to invite her as well. The story of Sarah and the 3 cloves spreads through her circle of friends and beyond, each retelling adding a new layer to the rich tapestry of the tradition. Some embrace it wholeheartedly, while others remain skeptical. But all are touched by the underlying message of intentionality and the power of small actions to create significant change. As the tradition continues to evolve and spread, it takes on new meanings for different people. For some, it becomes a yearly ritual of reflection and goal setting. For others, it's a fun and quirky way to usher in the fall season. And for a few, it remains a sincere attempt to invite magic and abundance into their lives. Economists and sociologists begin to take note of the phenomenon, studying the impact of this simple ritual on consumer behavior and community dynamics. They find that in areas where the tradition is widely practiced, there's often an uptick in charitable giving and community involvement in the weeks following date. It seems that the act of focusing on abundance, even in this small symbolic way, opens people's hearts to the idea of sharing their good fortune. Meanwhile, botanists and historians delve into the history and properties of cloves, uncovering fascinating facts about this aromatic spice. They trace its origins to the Maluku Islands in Indonesia, where it has been cultivated for over 2,000 years. They explore its use in traditional medicine, its role in the spice trade that shaped global economics, and its symbolic significance in various cultures. This research adds new depths to the tradition, with some practitioners incorporating the historical and cultural aspects into their rituals. Workshops and classes spring up, exploring the many facets of abundance and the various ways it can be invited into one's life. The 3 Cloves become a jumping-off point for discussions about intentional living, cultural exchange, and the interconnectedness of global communities. As the tradition gains more mainstream attention, it inevitably faces criticism and skepticism. Scientists and rationalists argue against the notion of magical thinking, warning that relying on such rituals can lead to disappointment or, worse, financial recklessness. They emphasize the importance of practical financial planning and hard work over symbolic gestures. These critiques spark heated debates on social media and in community forums. Defenders of the tradition argue that the ritual is not about blind faith in magic, but about setting intentions and creating a mindset conducive to recognizing and seizing opportunities. They point to the psychological benefits of ritual and the power of placebos, arguing that even if the cloves themselves don't have mystical properties, the act of placing them mindfully can lead to positive changes in behavior and outlook. The controversy only seems to fuel interest in the tradition, with people on both sides of the debate eager to prove their point. Some scientists even propose studies to measure the psychological and sociological impacts of participating in the ritual, adding an air of academic intrigue to the phenomenon. Amidst all the discussion and debate, individuals like Sarah continue to find personal meaning in the simple act of placing 3 cloves with intention. For them, it's not about proving a point or convincing others of the ritual's efficacy. It's about taking a moment to connect with their hopes and dreams, to express gratitude for what they have, and to open themselves to the possibility of more. As another date approaches, the air is once again filled with a sense of anticipation and possibility. In homes, offices, and public spaces around the world, people prepare to place their cloves, each with their own interpretation of the ritual and their own definition of riches. Sarah, now a few years into her journey with the tradition, prepares for her annual gathering. Her apartment, once cluttered and chaotic, now reflects the sense of purposeful abundance she's cultivated in her life. The original 3 cloves sit in a place of honor, a reminder of where her journey began. As her friends arrive, each bringing their own cloves and their own stories, Sarah feels a deep sense of gratitude. She looks around at the faces of her loved ones, at the life she's built, and at the small but powerful symbol of 3 little cloves. She realizes that true riches come not from what we acquire, but from what we appreciate and share. The evening unfolds with laughter, heartfelt conversations, and the sharing of dreams and intentions. As each person places their cloves, the air becomes thick with the spicy aroma and the invisible threads of connection that bind this makeshift family together. In this moment, Sarah understands that the real magic of the 3 cloves lies not in their ability to manifest material riches, but in their power to remind us of the abundance that already exists in our lives. It's a magic born of community, of shared hopes and mutual support, of small actions taken with great intention. As the night winds down and her friends depart, Sarah stands by her window, looking out at the city lights. She holds her 3 cloves, feeling their weight and texture, breathing in their familiar scent. With a smile, she places them in their spot, whispering her intentions, not just for herself, but for her community and the world at large. In homes across the globe, similar scenes play out. A child carefully places 3 cloves under her pillow, dreaming of a world where everyone has enough. An elderly man in a retirement home arranges his cloves on his nightstand, grateful for the richness of a life well lived. A young couple places their cloves together, looking forward to the abundance of love and adventure that awaits them. And so the tradition continues, evolving and adapting, touching lives in ways both seen and unseen. The 3 cloves, small and unassuming, carry the weight of hopes, dreams, and the collective belief in the possibility of a richer, more abundant world for all. As the clock strikes midnight and date becomes date, a sense of quiet magic settles over the world. Whether one believes in the power of the cloves or not, there's no denying the beauty of a tradition that encourages people to pause, reflect, and open themselves to the abundance that surrounds them. In the end, the true riches manifested by the 3 cloves may not be found in bank accounts or material possessions. Instead, they reside in the connections forged, the intentions set, and the small, daily actions taken towards creating a life of purpose and meaning. And perhaps, in a world that often feels chaotic and divided, that is the greatest magic of all. As the years pass, the tradition of the 3 cloves continues to evolve, taking on new dimensions and meanings for different generations. Social media plays an increasingly significant role in how people engage with and share their experiences of the ritual. Hashtags like 3 Cloves Magic and Abundance Ritual trend annually as date approaches. People from all walks of life post photos of their clove placements, sharing their hopes and intentions with a global audience. These posts range from artfully arranged still lives to candid family moments, each offering a glimpse into the diverse ways the tradition is observed. Influencers and content creators jump on the trend, producing elaborate videos showcasing luxury clove rituals in exotic locations. Some feature gold-plated cloves or rare, ethically sourced varieties from remote islands. While these extravagant displays draw criticism for missing the point of the ritual, they also spark conversations about the nature of abundance and the role of intention in manifesting desires. Meanwhile, grassroots movements emerge, using the tradition as a springboard for community action. Local groups organize Cloves for a Cause events, where participants place their cloves together in public spaces, each one representing a pledge to contribute to a community project or charity. These events foster a sense of collective purpose and remind participants that true abundance comes from giving as well as receiving. Educational institutions begin incorporating the tradition into their curricula, using it as a launching point for discussions on cultural anthropology, psychology, and even economics. Students explore the history of magical thinking, the power of placebos, and the economic impacts of shared cultural practices. In one particularly innovative high school program, students are challenged to create abundance projects inspired by the 3 Cloves tradition. These projects range from community gardens that provide fresh produce to food banks, to peer mentoring programs that share knowledge and skills. The most successful initiatives spread to other schools, creating a network of youth-driven abundance. The business world, ever quick to capitalize on trends, sees the emergence of abundance consultants who promise to help corporations harness the principles behind the 3 Cloves ritual to increase productivity and profits. While some dismiss this as corporate mysticism, others point to improved employee satisfaction and more ethically minded business practices as evidence of its value. In the realm of psychology, researchers begin to study the effects of ritual and intention setting on mental health and personal development. They find that participants in the 3 Cloves tradition often report increased feelings of optimism, improved goal-setting behaviors, and a greater sense of connection to their communities. These findings lead to the development of therapeutic approaches that incorporate symbolic rituals as tools for personal growth and healing. Artists, too, find inspiration in the tradition, creating works that explore themes of abundance, intention, and the power of small actions. Galleries host exhibitions featuring installations made entirely of cloves, their pungent aroma filling the air and evoking memories and emotions in visitors. Poets pen verses about the magic of everyday spices, while musicians compose songs that capture the anticipation and hope of date. As the tradition spreads to new corners of the globe, it begins to intersect with local customs and beliefs, creating fascinating hybrid rituals. In Japan, some practitioners incorporate the 3 cloves into their Shichifuku-jin, 7 lucky gods, altars, blending the Western tradition with their own symbols of good fortune. In Brazil, the cloves are sometimes added to sympasias, traditional charm rituals, creating a unique fusion of cultural practices. The scientific community continues to engage with the phenomenon, with botanists and chemists delving deeper into the properties of cloves. They discover new compounds in the spice with potential medicinal applications, leading some to wonder if there might be a scientific basis for the clove's reputation as bearers of abundance, at least in terms of health benefits. Environmentalists seize upon the tradition as a way to promote sustainable practices. They encourage participants to consider the environmental impact of their abundance, leading to a surge in eco-friendly versions of the ritual. Some choose to plant clove trees instead of using harvested cloves, creating living monuments to their intentions that also contribute to reforestation efforts. In the world of technology, app developers create virtual reality experiences that allow users to place digital cloves in fantastical environments, each one unlocking a guided meditation or affirmation about abundance. While purists argue that this misses the tactile and olfactory elements of the traditional ritual, others embrace it as a way to connect with the practice when physical cloves aren't available. As date approaches once again, Sarah finds herself reflecting on how far she's come since that first conversation with Eleanor in the grocery store. Now in her mid-30s, she's become something of a local guru on the 3 cloves tradition, hosting workshops and writing a popular blog about mindful approaches to abundance. This year, she decides to take her practice to a new level by organizing a citywide event. Working with local officials and community leaders, she plans a Night of 1,000 Cloves, where residents will come together in the city's central park to place their cloves collectively. The event is designed to set intentions not just for personal abundance, but for the prosperity and well-being of the entire community. As Sarah works on the preparations, she's amazed by the outpouring of support and enthusiasm. Local businesses donate supplies, artists create clove-themed decorations, and volunteers sign up in droves to help coordinate the logistics. It seems that the simple act of coming together around this shared tradition has already begun to manifest a kind of abundance in the community spirit. The night of the event arrives, and Sarah stands on a small stage, looking out at the sea of faces illuminated by candlelight. People of all ages, backgrounds and beliefs have gathered, each holding their 3 cloves. The air is thick with the spicy scent and a palpable sense of anticipation. As Sarah prepares to address the crowd, she feels a tap on her shoulder. Turning, she sees Eleanor, now in her 90s, but still radiating that same warmth and wisdom. The older woman smiles and nods encouragingly, a silent acknowledgement of how far they've both come in their journey with the 3 cloves. Taking a deep breath, Sarah steps up to the microphone. "Welcome, everyone," she begins, her voice carrying across the hushed park. "Tonight, we gather not just to place our cloves and set our intentions, but to recognize the abundance that already exists when we come together like this." As Sarah's voice carries over the gathered crowd, a sense of unity and shared purpose settles over the park. She continues her speech, weaving together personal anecdotes with broader reflections on the nature of abundance and community. Each of us holds 3 small cloves, Sarah says, her eyes scanning the sea of faces before her. Individually, they might seem insignificant, but together, they represent a collective intention, a shared hope for a future where abundance flows not just to us, but through us, to others. As she speaks, a gentle breeze rustles through the trees, carrying the mingled scents of cloves, autumn leaves, and anticipation. Children sit wide-eyed on their parents' shoulders, clutching their own tiny cloves with a sense of wonder. Elderly couples hold hands, their weathered fingers intertwined, each holding a lifetime of hopes and dreams in their other palm. Sarah goes on to outline the plan for the evening. After her speech, everyone will be invited to place their cloves in specially prepared beds of soil, arranged in intricate patterns throughout the park. As they do, they're encouraged to speak their intentions aloud, sharing them with those around them. Remember, Sarah emphasizes, her voice filled with emotion, abundance isn't just about what we receive, it's about what we give, what we share, and how we support each other. Let each clove you place be a promise to yourself and to your community. As Sarah concludes her speech, a quiet murmur ripples through the crowd. People begin to move towards the soil beds, forming lines that twist and turn like rivers of humanity. The air fills with a soft chorus of voices as individuals and families place their cloves, each whispered intention adding to the collective energy of the night. Among the crowd, stories unfold and intertwine. A young entrepreneur places her cloves, speaking of her dreams to create a business that will provide jobs and opportunities for her struggling neighborhood. Nearby, a teacher sets his cloves, voicing his hope for a classroom where every child feels valued and empowered to learn. A group of teenagers, initially skeptical and attending more for the social aspect, find themselves unexpectedly moved as they place their cloves. They speak of their fears for the future, climate change, economic uncertainty, social divisions, but also of their determination to face these challenges and create positive change. As the night progresses, spontaneous acts of kindness and connection blossom throughout the park. Strangers strike up conversations, sharing their stories and aspirations. A woman who confesses she couldn't afford to buy cloves finds herself surrounded by others offering to share. Children dart between the adults, collecting fallen cloves and redistributing them to anyone who wants to place more, their laughter a reminder of the joy inherent in giving. Local musicians, inspired by the atmosphere, begin to play soft melodies that weave through the air, adding another layer to the sensory tapestry of the evening. The music seems to encourage even the shyest participants to open up, their whispered intentions growing stronger and more confident. As midnight approaches, Sarah makes her way through the crowd, marveling at the transformative power of this shared ritual. She pauses to chat with participants, listening to their stories and offering words of encouragement. In each face, she sees a reflection of her own journey, the hope, the uncertainty, the growing belief in the power of intention and community. Near one of the soil beds, Sarah encounters a young woman nervously clutching her cloves. The woman confides that she feels silly, that she's not sure she believes in any of this. Sarah smiles, remembering her own initial skepticism. It's not about belief in magic, Sarah tells her gently. It's about belief in yourself, in your ability to recognize and create opportunities. These cloves, they're just reminders of the intentions you set, the actions you commit to take. Encouraged, the young woman takes a deep breath and places her cloves, speaking softly of her dream to go back to school, to create a better life for herself and her young daughter. As she does, an older man standing nearby overhears. He introduces himself as a professor at the local community college, and offers to provide information about scholarships and flexible study programs. The young woman's eyes light up, a real-world example of the connections and opportunities this night is meant to foster. As the last of the cloves are placed, a hush falls over the park. Sarah returns to the stage, inviting everyone to join in a moment of silent reflection. Thousands of people stand quietly, eyes closed, each holding their intentions in their hearts. The collective energy is almost palpable, a shared current of hope and possibility flowing through the gathered community. After the moment of silence, Sarah invites everyone to look around, to really see the people standing next to them. These are your neighbors, your community, she says. The abundance we seek begins with the connections we forge here tonight. As you leave, take with you not just the memory of your own intentions, but the energy of our collective hopes and dreams. The crowd begins to disperse slowly, people lingering to chat, exchange contact information, and make plans to stay connected. Many express a desire to create smaller, regular gatherings to continue the spirit of the night. The seeds of numerous community initiatives are planted in these conversations. Book clubs focused on personal growth, neighborhood cleanup projects, support groups for local entrepreneurs. As the park empties, Sarah and a team of volunteers begin the cleanup process. They work under the soft glow of the park lights, gathering any stray cloves and ensuring the area is left pristine. There's a sense of reverence in their actions, an understanding that they're handling not just discarded spices, but the physical manifestations of thousands of hopes and dreams. In the days that follow, the impact of the Night of 1,000 Cloves ripples through the city. Local news outlets run stories featuring participants who feel energized and motivated by the experience. Social media buzzes with photos and personal reflections, the event hashtag trending as people continue to share their intentions and connect with others. Sarah's inbox fills with messages from attendees, each with a story to tell. Some speak of renewed motivation to pursue long-dormant dreams. Others share tales of serendipitous connections made during the event that have already led to new opportunities. Many simply express gratitude for the sense of community and possibility the night instilled in them. As the month goes by, the physical traces of the event fade. The scent of cloves dissipates from the park, the soil beds are smoothed over, and the daily rhythms of city life resume. But something has shifted in the community's collective consciousness. There's a new awareness of the power of intention, of the abundance that can be found in connection and shared purpose. In coffee shops and community centers, at school board meetings and local business associations, the energy from that night continues to fuel discussions and inspire action. People who had never been civically engaged before find themselves volunteering for local causes. Businesses explore ways to contribute more meaningfully to the community. A spirit of collaboration begins to infuse local politics, with leaders seeking more input from citizens on key decisions. Sarah, while proud of the event's success, is careful not to take too much credit. She knows that the real power lies not in any one person or ritual, but in the collective will of a community coming together with shared intention. As she considers plans for the future, she's determined to find ways to nurture and sustain this energy throughout the year. Meanwhile, news of the event spreads beyond the city limits. Other communities reach out, eager to learn how they might organize similar gatherings. Sarah finds herself fielding inquiries from around the country, even internationally, from people inspired by the idea of using a simple ritual as a catalyst for community building and positive change. As autumn deepens and the holiday season approaches, the Three Cloves tradition takes on new dimensions in the city. Local artisans create clove-inspired crafts, their wares appearing in shop windows and at community markets. Restaurants add special abundance bowls to their menus, featuring dishes rich in cloves and other warming spices, with a portion of proceeds going to local food banks. Schools incorporate elements of the tradition into their curriculums, using it as a starting point for discussions about goal setting, community involvement, and cultural practices. One elementary school starts a Cloves for Kindness program, where students earn symbolic cloves for acts of kindness and place them in a communal jar, watching their collective good deeds grow throughout the year. In the business sector, companies explore ways to translate the principles of the Three Cloves tradition into their corporate cultures. Some institute Intention Mondays, where team meetings begin with employees sharing their goals for the week and how they align with broader company objectives. Others create mentorship programs, recognizing that abundance of knowledge and experience is as valuable as financial success. Local government officials, inspired by the community spirit demonstrated at the event, launch a series of town halls and workshops focused on participatory budgeting. Citizens are invited to place symbolic cloves on projects and initiatives they believe will bring the most abundance to their neighborhoods, leading to more engaged and transparent decision-making processes. As winter sets in, Sarah reflects on the whirlwind of activity sparked by that single night in the park. She thinks about Eleanor, the woman who first introduced her to the Three Cloves tradition, and decides to pay her a visit. She finds Eleanor in her small, cozy apartment, surrounded by plants and mementos of a life richly lived. Over cups of spiced tea, Sarah shares stories of how the tradition has grown and evolved. Eleanor listens with a twinkle in her eye, occasionally nodding or chuckling softly. When Sarah finishes, Eleanor reaches out and pats her hand gently. "You know," Eleanor says, her voice warm with wisdom and affection. "When I first learned about this tradition, many years ago, I never imagined it could grow into something like this. But that's the thing about abundance. It has a way of multiplying, of taking on forms we never expected." Sarah nods, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for the journey that brought her to this moment. As she and Eleanor continue to chat, sharing memories and dreams, Sarah realizes that this too is a form of abundance. The richness found in human connection, in shared stories, in the passing down of wisdom from one generation to the next. As the afternoon light fades into evening, Sarah prepares to leave. Before she goes, Eleanor presses something into her hand. 3 perfect cloves, just like the ones she gave Sarah years ago. "For the next chapter," Eleanor says with a wink. Stepping out into the crisp winter air, Sarah holds the cloves close, feeling their warmth and potential. She doesn't know exactly what the future holds, how the tradition will continue to grow and change. But she knows that as long as people come together with intention and hope, there will always be new forms of abundance to discover and share. With renewed purpose, Sarah begins the walk home, her mind already spinning with ideas for the coming year. The Three Cloves tradition has become more than just a personal ritual or a community event. It's evolved into a movement, a way of thinking about abundance, intention, and interconnectedness that continues to spark positive change in ways both big and small. As she walks, Sarah passes shops and homes decorated for the holiday season. She notices small clusters of cloves incorporated into wreaths and garlands, a subtle nod to the tradition that has become such an integral part of the community's identity. It reminds her that the spirit of abundance fostered by the Three Cloves isn't limited to a single night or season. It's something that can be cultivated and celebrated year-round. Sarah's phone buzzes with a message from one of the community groups formed after the Night of 1,000 Cloves. They're planning a winter solstice event, a small gathering to set intentions for the coming year. The message ends with a simple question: how can we make this not just about personal abundance, but about creating a more abundant world for all. As Sarah ponders this question, she feels a renewed sense of excitement and purpose. She realizes that the true power of the Three Cloves tradition lies not in any mystical properties of the spice itself, but in its ability to bring people together, to encourage reflection and intention setting, and to inspire action towards shared goals. With each step, new ideas form in Sarah's mind. She thinks about ways to expand the concept of abundance beyond material wealth, abundance of kindness, of opportunity, of understanding. She considers how the simple act of placing 3 cloves with intention can be a gateway to larger conversations about community, sustainability, and social justice. As she reaches her neighborhood, Sarah notices small changes that have taken root since the event. The community garden, once struggling, now thrives with the help of volunteers who met during the Night of 1,000 Cloves. A once vacant storefront has been transformed into a co-working space for local entrepreneurs, its windows decorated with clove-inspired art. These visible signs of positive change fuel Sarah's determination. She knows that the journey toward true abundance, for individuals, communities, and the world at large, is ongoing. It requires consistent effort, open-heartedness, and a willingness to reimagine what's possible. As she approaches her apartment building, Sarah pauses for a moment. She takes out the 3 cloves Eleanor gave her and holds them up to the fading light. In these small, aromatic seeds, she sees not just her own hopes and dreams, but the collective aspirations of her community and beyond. With a smile, Sarah tucks the cloves safely away. Tomorrow will bring new challenges and opportunities. But for now, she carries with her the warmth of connection, the power of intention, and the knowledge that true abundance is something created together, one small act at a time. As she enters her apartment, Sarah's mind is already racing with plans for the future. She envisions a network of abundance circles spreading across the city, the country, even globally. Small groups meeting regularly to support each other's goals, collaborate on community projects, and explore new ways of creating and sharing abundance in all its forms. She thinks about how technology could be leveraged to support and expand the movement. Perhaps an app that helps people track their intentions and connect with others working towards similar goals. Or a platform for sharing stories of unexpected abundance, inspiring others to look for the hidden opportunities in their own lives. Sarah boots up her computer, eager to start jotting down these ideas while they're fresh. As she does, she receives an email from a professor at the local university. The sociology department is interested in studying the impact of the 3 cloves tradition on community cohesion and individual well-being. They're proposing a long-term research project and would like Sarah's input. This academic interest excites Sarah. She sees it as an opportunity to gather data, to understand more deeply how and why this simple ritual has such a profound effect on people and communities. This research could provide valuable insights, helping to refine and expand the practice in ways that create even more positive impact. As she begins to type a response to the professor, Sarah reflects on how far the 3 cloves tradition has come from its roots as a personal, private ritual. It's evolved into something that touches on so many aspects of life: psychology, sociology, economics, even politics. Yet at its core, it remains beautifully simple. 3 small cloves, a moment of intention, and the belief in the possibility of abundance. Sarah works late into the night, her enthusiasm carrying her through hours of brainstorming and planning. She outlines ideas for workshops, community events, and collaborations with local organizations. She drafts proposals for citywide initiatives that could help translate the spirit of the 3 cloves into tangible improvements in people's lives. As the first light of dawn begins to seep through her windows, Sarah finally sets aside her work. She's tired, but invigorated, filled with a sense of purpose and possibility. She knows that the path ahead will have its challenges, skepticism to overcome, logistics to manage, the constant work of keeping the movement grounded in its core values. But as she prepares for a few hours of sleep before the new day begins, Sarah feels deeply grateful. Grateful for Eleanor's wisdom, for her community's embrace of the tradition, for the countless individuals who have found hope and motivation through this simple ritual. Most of all, she's grateful for the reminder that abundance, in its truest form, is not about accumulation or scarcity. It's about connection, intention, and the recognition that when we come together with open hearts and shared purpose, we already have everything we need to create positive change. As Sarah drifts off to sleep, the scent of cloves lingering in the air, she holds on to this feeling of gratitude. She knows that tomorrow will bring new opportunities to explore, new challenges to face, and new ways to grow the movement that has become such an integral part of her life. In her dreams, Sarah sees fields of clove trees stretching as far as the eye can see, their branches heavy with possibility. She sees communities coming together, setting intentions not just for personal gain, but for the well-being of all. She sees a world where the spirit of abundance touches every aspect of life, creating ripples of positive change that extend far beyond what any one person could imagine. And in this dream world of infinite potential, Sarah continues to walk forward, 3 small cloves cupped in her hand, ready to plant the seeds of a more abundant future for all.